and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavour show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of the UK's second-largest city, Birmingham.
We all want to get to the point quickly, right? To understand what really matters without, digging through tons of stuff. Today, we're doing just that, but maybe in a slightly different way. Instead of formal reports, we're diving deep into parts of a fictional radio drama.
Yeah, which might sound a bit odd at first. But fiction, it lets us explore those really raw human experiences. It can feel incredibly real sometimes. By looking at these moments, these characters dealing with loss, community, personal struggles, we can actually uncover some pretty deep truths about ourselves.
Absolutely. And we've got these snippets, moments right after a loss, how communities react, sometimes supporting, sometimes maybe not so smoothly, and also the practical side of grief, which often gets missed, right? And how we remember people. So our mission today is to listen closely to these fictional lives and see what they tell us about, well, being human and connecting with each other.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with the immediate aftermath of Peggy's passing. That scene with Tom taking young Novin to the Remembrance Garden to sing for Peggy and Ren. That picture, it really sticks with you.
It really does. And what's interesting there, I think, is how it shows that basic human need when faced with loss, needing to express grief somehow, even if you don't have the words.
Right.
And for someone young like Novin, singing there in that specific place, it becomes this concrete ritual, a way to acknowledge something huge has happened, even if you can't fully grasp the finality of it.
And then there's that lovely, almost quick detail about the shared twinkle in the eyes, Helen, Jack, young Peggy.
Oh, yeah.
It's subtle, isn't it? But it hints at this deep family connection, maybe unspoken, a kind of shared spirit that seems to last, even beyond death.
Exactly. Makes you think about those inherited things, maybe mannerisms, maybe just a look that keep a person's essence alive in the family. It speaks to that lasting legacy, not just memory, but these tiny echoes across generations. And that feeling people mention that Peggy would go on forever.
Yeah.
That really captures the initial shock.
Oh, definitely. That disbelief.
Yeah, that feeling when someone's just always been there. Their absence feels wrong, like something fundamental has shifted.
So after that initial shock, the drama gives us these really touching, very human moments of community support. Linda and Lillian meeting for coffee. There's that unspoken thing there, offering comfort.
Right.
And Joy bringing over wee tea, which I think means leftovers, for Brian, just knowing he'd probably be stressed out.
Yeah, those little gestures, they feel so real, don't they?
They really do.
And what stands out is how these small acts, they build this important safety net. It's not about big dramatic things.
No.
It's the quiet check-in, the practical help, just acknowledging someone's pain. That's often where community strength really shows itself, I think, in those everyday bits of care.
Then the story moves to Lillian's experience with the Laurel's care home. First, there's kindness right after Peggy dies, but then, bam, this sudden demand to clear her room in 24 hours. It feels like such a sharp contrast. And unfortunately, kind of realistic, that clash between institutional rules and personal grief.
It really highlights a tough situation, doesn't it? You've got people inside the system probably trying to be empathetic, the staff maybe.
Sure.
But then there are the procedures, the operational side, keeping things running. And Lillian feeling like profit is coming before her grief. That's a powerful way to show how systems can, sometimes without meaning to, make deeply personal moments feel impersonal. Dehumanizing almost.
Totally. And it makes Emma offering to help Lillian clear the room feel even more significant afterwards. It's a small moment of connection, maybe even surprising given their history, but it says a lot about empathy, cutting through those, formal barriers.
It really does. It suggests that even when we're busy with our own stuff, there's often this impulse to help others when they're vulnerable. And like you said, sometimes it's the unexpected offers that mean the most.
We also see these lovely, very personal ways Peggy's memory is kept alive. Emma telling that story about breaking the china doll.
Oh, I loved that bit.
And Peggy's reaction, telling her she was her own best asset. That little anecdote, it just paints such a clear picture of Peggy's character, doesn't it? Her kindness, seeing past the mistake.
What's great about that is how it shows Peggy valued the person, not the thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the broken china, it was about Emma's worth.
Right.
And Lillian thinking about her mother's strength, accepting people's flaws, claws and all, as she says. It paints a picture of someone who really embraced the messiness of being human in herself and others. That kind of acceptance, that's a powerful thing to leave behind.
And Brian finding that old recording from 2020, the socially distanced village event, thinking Lillian would like it, that's such a specific, kind of bittersweet detail.
It is, yeah.
It reminds you that even seemingly ordinary, maybe slightly awkward moments can become incredibly precious when someone's gone, because they capture a specific time with that person.
Exactly. It's about holding on to those connections, those links to shared times, even the mundane ones. The bookmark Nolatondo and Zippo made showing Peggy.
Mm-hmm.
The homemade stained glass Christmas thing she kept for 30 years. These objects become like anchors for memory, physical proof of a bond that continues.
The drama also goes into those really tough feelings of guilt and regret, doesn't it? Kate being so upset about not getting Hilda to see her grandmother before she passed. That felt genuinely painful to listen to.
It did. That if only feeling is just. It's such a common, hard part of grieving. And Brian enjoyed trying to gently reassure her, saying her grandmother understood, that she loved her. That shows how important compassion from others is in those moments when you're beating yourself up.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a reminder that often we worry more about our own actions than maybe the other person ever did.
And then there are those surprising comforts. Joy thinking about unexpected connections that pop up in families and communities, Jenny and Rory, or herself and Martha. It makes you think that support and understanding can sometimes appear from places you didn't expect in your social world.
That's a really key point. Grief can shake things up, you know?
Yeah.
It can create new bonds or make existing ones deeper in ways you wouldn't have predicted.
Yeah.
It shows how interconnected we are and the resilience you can find when people share vulnerability.
And then the return of Hilda the cat, which is almost funny, but also really moving.
Ah, yes.
Lillian immediately thinking she must have been under Peggy's bed, and Brian's slightly cheeky comment about Peggy maybe liking the cat more than the family.
Which gets gently shut down.
Right. But it adds this little touch of lightness to a heavy situation.
It does. And it acknowledges those really deep bonds we have with pets, how they get tangled up in our lives and our memories of people. Lillian seeing Hilda's return as the cat, finding a way back to Peggy. Well, that speaks to our need to find meaning, find connection, even in unexpected things.
That shared moment later, when Joy plays the recording of Tennyson's Ring Out Wild Bells while they're packing, that feels like such a strong image of grieving together, finding a moment of shared beauty amidst all the practical stuff.
Absolutely. It's like pressing pause, letting the practical tasks wait for a second to share an emotional experience connected through, art and tradition.
And finally, there's that little peek into workplace stuff. Natasha's very ambitious cricket tea plans, and Linda initially just dismissing them. But then Linda has a change of heart, apologizes, and pivots to something simpler with Fallon's mini pies.
Right. It's a reminder that, life goes on alongside personal events. The everyday world keeps turning, and our interactions, even with little arguments about catering, they still happen. And it shows how even small conflicts can be sorted out with communication, being willing to rethink things, Linda adjusting and saying sorry to Natasha. That highlights being flexible and admitting when maybe you got something wrong.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's really striking how this fictional drama has shone a light on some very basic human things. The complex reality of grief, how vital community support is, the power of memory, and just how complicated our relationships often are.
Yeah, and for me, some of the big takeaways are just how much impact those small acts of kindness can have, the incredible different ways people actually experience and process loss, and the strength that comes from connecting with others, even when things feel incredibly sad.
It really drives home the value of looking closely at those everyday moments, the ones that might seem ordinary. There's often so much emotion and connection packed into them,
Absolutely. And that brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. Think about the interactions in your own life, the everyday ones. What subtle signs of emotion or support, or maybe even unspoken connection might you be missing? How do the communities you're part of handle tough times? And what role do those seemingly small gestures really play in giving comfort and making people feel like they belong?
So what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just moving mics around.
So what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the arches. Just any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the ball bar. That's,
This one.
yep. That's.
I mean, Hayley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline. I mean,
I think the Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever